The Galactic Council had one rule that every species understood: never trust a human with something precious. Commander Lyra stood in the crystalline chamber, her breath forming small clouds in the frigid air of the Corin testing facility. Around her, hundreds of alien dignitaries watched from behind reinforced barriers, their various appendages clutching data tablets and recording devices. She could feel their eyes compound single, thermal sensitive, all fixed on her with a mixture of curiosity and barely concealed disgust. "The human will fail," Ambassador Threx announced, his chitinous mandibles clicking with satisfaction. "Humans are predators. Predators cannot be trusted with the young of others." Lyra said nothing. She had learned long ago that humans were the galaxy's favorite paradox: too aggressive to be civilized, too empathetic to be properly predatory, too stubborn to know when they were beaten. Earth had spent 3 decades clawing its way into the Galactic Council, only to be given the most menial tasks, the most dangerous assignments, the tests that no one expected them to pass. This was another test. The doors at the far end of the chamber hissed open, and Lyra's heart clenched despite her training. 3 Corin cubs emerged, led by handlers in full protective gear. The cubs were barely knee-high, covered in silver-blue fur that caught the light like starshine, but their reputation preceded them. Corin adults were the galaxy's apex predators, 8 feet of muscle, claw, and jaw strength that could crush durasteel. Their cubs were equally dangerous, born with fully developed hunting instincts and a pack mentality that made them lethal even in their youth. The Council's test was simple: spend 72 hours with the cubs. Feed them, care for them, survive them. No weapons, no protective gear, just a human and 3 of the most dangerous juveniles in known space. The handlers released the cubs and quickly retreated. The smallest one, his fur marked with distinctive rust-colored patches along his spine, took 3 steps toward Lyra and stopped. His golden eyes fixed on her, pupils dilating as he analyzed this strange, soft creature before him. "Hello," Lyra said softly, lowering herself to a crouch. "My name is Lyra." The cub's ears flattened. Behind him, his 2 siblings began to fan out, instinctively moving to flank positions. Classic predator behavior. They were already hunting her, but Lyra had done her homework. She had spent weeks studying Corin biology, psychology, pack dynamics. She knew that Corin cubs responded to confidence but not aggression, to strength but not dominance. She had to become something they had never encountered before: a protector who was not pack, a provider who was not prey. The rust-marked cub, she decided to call him Rin, took another step forward. His small body tensed, preparing to pounce. Lyra didn't move. She simply held his gaze and began to hum, a low, rhythmic sound that resonated in her chest. Rin froze. His ears perked forward. The humming was something Lyra had learned from her grandmother, an old lullaby from Earth that spoke of safety and warmth. It had no meaning to a Corin cub, but the vibration, the tone, the steadiness of it, that was universal. Minutes passed. The other 2 cubs maintained their positions, waiting for Rin's signal. Finally, Rin's haunches relaxed. He sat down, still watching her, but no longer preparing to attack. "Good boy," Lyra whispered. The first day was the hardest. The cubs tested her constantly, lunging at her when she moved too quickly, growling when she approached their food dispensers, even attempting coordinated attacks when she tried to sleep. But Lyra never raised her voice, never showed fear, never retaliated. When they were hungry, she fed them. When they were restless, she played with them, using bits of cord and fabric to create toys that triggered their hunting instincts in safe ways. When they finally exhausted themselves, she sat against the wall and kept watch while they slept. By the second day, something had shifted. Rin no longer growled when she approached. He followed her around the chamber, his small body always positioning itself between her and his siblings when they got too aggressive. When one of the other cubs, a female Lyra had named Sarah, attempted to bite Lyra's leg during feeding time, Rin intervened with a sharp bark and a shoulder check that sent Sarah tumbling. The observers in the gallery murmured among themselves. This wasn't supposed to happen. On the 3rd day, Lyra woke to find all 3 cubs curled around her, their warm bodies pressed against her sides. Rin's head rested on her lap, and when she shifted slightly, his eyes opened immediately, alert and protective. When Ambassador Threx himself entered the chamber for the final evaluation, Rin stood and planted himself directly in front of Lyra, his lips pulled back to reveal tiny but razor-sharp teeth. Extraordinary, Threx breathed, his compound eyes reflecting genuine shock. The cubs have bonded with her. They see her as pack. More than that, said Dr. Millennia, the Corthan behavioral specialist. They see her as something worth protecting. Rin has assumed a guardian position. He's treating her like she's precious. The test was officially over, but when the handlers tried to retrieve the cubs, chaos erupted. Rin refused to leave Lyra's side, snapping at anyone who came close. Sarah and the third cub, whom Lyra had named Ghost, formed a defensive perimeter around them both. The message was clear. The human was theirs now, and they would fight anyone who tried to take her from them. It took 3 hours, and the intervention of a Corthan elder to finally separate them. Even then, Rin's cries echoed through the facility as he was carried away, his golden eyes locked on Lyra until the very last moment. Commander Lyra stood before the Galactic Council 1 week later, her uniform crisp, her expression neutral. The vote was unanimous. Humanity would be granted full council membership, with all the rights and responsibilities that entailed. You have proven, Ambassador Threx said, his voice carrying none of its earlier disdain, that humans possess a quality we had not anticipated. You are predators, yes, but you are also something rarer. You are protectors. You bonded with those cubs not through domination, but through genuine care. They would have died for you. Lyra nodded once. That's what family does, Ambassador. We humans learned that lesson long before we reached the stars. We're predators when we need to be, but we're pack animals first. And pack takes care of pack no matter how many legs or eyes or appendages they have. As she left the council chambers, her communicator chimed, a message from the Corthan homeworld. Dr. Millennia had included a video file. Lyra opened it and felt her heart swell. There was Rin, grown larger already, playing with his siblings in a training facility. But at the end of the video, he stopped and looked directly at the camera, his golden eyes bright with recognition and something that looked almost like longing. He remembers you, the attached message read. They all do. You gave them something no Corthan handler ever has: trust without dominance, love without weakness. The Council has approved an unprecedented request. When Rin completes his training, he has asked to be assigned to your ship, if you'll have him. Commander Lyra smiled, her fingers already composing her response. The galaxy was about to learn what humans had always known. The bonds forged in trust were stronger than any made through fear. And sometimes the fiercest predators made the most loyal friends.